In order to be prepared for higher education, we need to take a glimpse into the world through the eyes of those living it. Hi, I'm your host, Ashreya Sirivol. I have questions about the future, which is why I am going to deep dive into the journeys of college students and graduates, exploring the majors and paths they've chosen. Welcome to Scholar Stories, the podcast, where we bring you practical advice and inspiring stories. Today, we're welcoming Rachel Angelo, an incoming freshman at UCLA and majoring in biology and biological sciences. She is a recent graduate of Notre Dame High School in San Jose, California. Rachel was deeply involved in both extracurriculars on campus and through internships and volunteering opportunities in her community. I am excited to welcome her to the podcast. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
So, how does it feel being graduated? I know you just graduated last month.
Yeah, I think it's definitely bittersweet. I think I'm gonna miss high school a lot, but it feels like really good to be done with high school. You see all your hard work pay off, and I think that's really nice. But I'm gonna miss my friends and stuff, so there's that.
Yeah, it must be so nice seeing the results of your 4 years of hard work. Can you start off by telling us what made you choose biological sciences as your major at UCLA? Was it a straightforward decision, or did you consider other majors as well?
So for me personally, biological sciences has always stood out to me because it has been a subject that interested me. It kind of gives me the opportunity to combine a ton about the natural world and use that to make a difference in people's lives. I think it was kind of a set decision for me because I've wanted to go into pre-med for a while. So majoring in the biological sciences gives me the academic background to pursue that. But I will say though, my decision wasn't entirely straightforward because for a couple months I did want to pursue a few different majors like psychology, neuroscience, and even business. I think I had a lot of different passions in high school, so at those points in time I wanted to major in other fields. But at the end of the day, I just kind of kept coming back to biology. It's the foundation for so many fields, from medicine to research, and I am especially drawn to how it helps us understand life at the molecular level. So with that, I think I had my mind fully set on biology when applying to college, seeing that it gave me the clearest path to pursuing both my love of science and my long-term goal of becoming a doctor.
It's so cool that you always loved biology and could come back to it and pre-med while also having other passions that you could major in. How did you hear about and get involved with places like the South Asian Heart Center and Trust Mental Health? Do you have any advice for other students also looking for places to volunteer and intern?
Yeah, so I actually found both of the organizations I intern at through a combination of research and word of mouth or networking. For me, I was looking for opportunities that aligned with my interest in community health specifically. So the South Asian Heart Center stood out to me because of its focus on culturally specific cardiovascular health, which is something I'm interested in. And Trust Mental Health was an incredible space for me to learn about destigmatizing mental illness and advocating for mental health awareness around the Bay Area. For students looking for internships or volunteer opportunities, my best advice is don't wait for the opportunities to come to you. You have to reach out, send emails, and use platforms that have these opportunities. And when you find them, you just have to apply because you might get them. It's okay if you don't have the experience, but you have to just show a genuine interest and a willingness to learn.
That's great advice. Don't wait and just reach out. I think that's really important to put yourself out there. When and how were you able to become a part of the National Honor Society and the California Scholarship Federation at Notre Dame? Were there any requirements, and was it something that you needed to apply for, or were you contacted to become a member?
So for both NHS and CSF, there are GPA requirements, so maintaining strong grades and being consistently involved really helped getting into those organizations. So for CSF, you have to submit an application with your transcript and grades. And for NHS, you have to have a certain GPA and answer a set of essay questions. So you do have to apply for both, but I think it's very worth it because both of these organizations aren't just about academics. They encourage leadership and service, which really aligns with, I think, a lot of students' goals. And I think applying is always worth a shot. For me personally, after my junior year of being involved in NHS, I was able to apply for NHS president and I ended up getting it for my senior year, which I think is beneficial.
It's so cool that you were able to become the NHS president. And as someone as Notre Dame myself, I didn't know that these programs existed until now. So thank you for telling me this because now I know what to expect. Now let's switch a little bit and talk about your college applications. How far ahead did you start your college applications, and do you think you gave yourself enough time?
So I actually started brainstorming my college essays in the summer before my senior year, and I'm really glad that I did that because it definitely gave me the time and space to really reflect and revise throughout summer without the pressure of senior year piling up. I think I had enough time because I was done with all my applications by December. So by the time the deadlines rolled around, I already had written multiple drafts of my personal statement and supplements. So I had lots of time to review them before submitting. And I definitely think that starting early is good and staying consistent with writing really helps because I was able to finish all my applications at least a week or two before their deadlines, which also helps me stay stress-free. And I think that's a good piece of advice I would give to anyone applying to college.
Yeah, it must be super nice to have time to check your applications over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of your applications, what do you think was the strongest or most important part? And what do you think helped you stand out, especially for UCLA, because I know that it is super competitive?
Yeah, UCLA definitely has, well, in the past few years, it's had the most number of applicants. So I think standing out is very important to all these colleges. So for me, I think the most impactful part of my application was the story I told and how I was able to portray everything I was involved in. I connected my personal experiences and the activities I participated in to my larger goals in my essays and supplements. I didn't want to just list my achievements in high school and everything that I did. I explained why they mattered to me and how they shaped the person I want to be. I think that colleges look for people who are not just capable, but they're also reflective and driven by something. They're driven by their passions or whatever they're doing. So I tried to make that really clear throughout my applications, and I think that helped me stand out to these colleges.
Yeah, I think what you said is so true, like saying the why instead of what you already did.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference between early action, early decision, and like binding decisions? There's a bunch of different types of decisions. Did you choose to apply to any colleges like this?
Yeah, so I can talk about the differences between all the colleges. So early action or EA is the non-binding decisions. So basically you just get to apply early and you get your decision early, but you're not committed to a college. You're not really attached to it. Whereas ED or early decision is binding. So if you apply and get in, you must attend. And then regular decision or RD is just the standard timeline. So for me, I applied mostly through EA because I did have a lot of applications and I wanted to get them out of the way early, but I did do a few regular decision schools. I think that doing EA for me personally worked out well because I could get the results somewhat early so I could weigh my options. And I personally didn't do any ED schools because I didn't want to be committed to any schools before hearing back from the others, but that was just my personal preference.
That was a really good explanation of all these decisions, and it's super nice that EA worked out for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, what tips do you have for students asking their teachers for letters of recommendation? Did you ask the same teachers over and over again throughout your 4 years of high school, and what was the process?
Yeah, so my advice for asking teachers for letters of recommendation is to start early and be thoughtful with who you're asking. I asked teachers who knew me just beyond academics and people like I thought I had meaningful relationships with. I either asked them through email or by going to their classroom like directly to ask. I also made sure to give them plenty of time and provided them either with my resume or answered a set of questions they had so that they could write the best letter for me or the program I wanted to get into. I also think another important thing is to just thank them. I wrote thank you notes, which seems like a small gesture, but I think it's really important to show appreciation. And I would also say stay in touch with those teachers who support you through these classes because that's how you're able to form meaningful relationships with them. For me personally, I asked teachers that I had been in their class for like 1 or 2 years, not just like a little bit, because I think it helps them to get to know you, and that helps when they're writing, so they can give you the best letter of recommendation.
That's really great advice, like forming meaningful connections with the teachers you're asking. So, did you take the SAT or the ACT, and do you think it helped boost your college applications? Because I know that this year UCLA was test blind. And how important do you think grades and APs and standardized test scores are when applying to college?
So I did take the SAT and I submitted my scores to a few schools that needed them for consideration. And I do think that good test scores definitely help, but at the end of the day, they're just one part of the picture. I think baseline, you have to have a really strong academic profile for a lot of these good schools in the country. So for schools that were test optional, I focused more on my GPA and extracurriculars, and I definitely think that AP and honors classes are important because colleges want to see that you're challenging yourself and you're performing well consistently. So I think it's definitely a big part of the application, but I definitely think that your grades and your GPA are going to matter a little bit more because that's just showing your strong academic background. But at the end of the day, your essays, activities, and recommendations contribute to telling like the full story of in your application. So I think everything has a little bit of a part in the picture, but I would definitely say having a strong academic background is going to boost you up so much.
That makes so much sense. Like, everything plays a little role. Did you use any external college counselors? And if so, what process did you go through to choose your counselor, and were they helpful?
So for me, I actually didn't use an external college counselor. I relied on our school's college counselors and honestly, myself and my parents. I spent time researching what each college was looking for and just made sure that my essays were authentic to who I am. I think it's completely possible to navigate the process without a private counselor as long as you stay organized and start early and you aren't afraid to ask for people to help you for feedback. But I do think that using a counselor, depending on what you need help with, could be very beneficial because it gives you the extra support in certain areas that you might need help with.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, it depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
Did you apply for any scholarships? And if so, what was the process to do so?
Yeah, so I did apply for a few scholarships. The process usually involved just submitting transcripts, doing essays, and even a couple times letters of recommendation. I found a lot of opportunities through our school's college counseling and scholarship search engines. I will say it is definitely time consuming because you have to write essays, you have to do the extra supplements, and that on top of college applications can become a lot sometimes. But I think it is definitely worth it even if you get them because even the small scholarships that you'll do add up. And writing those essays definitely helps with supplement writing, which is a bonus during college app season.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Looking back, is there any piece of advice you would give to high school students who are considering pursuing a similar path in college?
Yeah, I think my best piece of advice to high school students pursuing biology or honestly just anything is just don't be afraid to take initiative even if you feel unsure. Whether you're starting a club, cold emailing, or signing up for a new class, you kind of just have to go for it. You don't have to try to be what you think colleges want. At the end of the day, you have to be yourself and let those interests that you have evolve based on what you're passionate about. Because that authenticity will always come through stronger on your application than a perfect resume and those passions will shine through. At the end of the day, you're going to be doing stuff that you enjoy, and when you enjoy it and when you're able to showcase that to college, I think that's going to show a true version of yourself that's really good.
Yeah, that was really great advice. And you were a part of so many extracurriculars and clubs, from track and field to ASB. How did you balance your time between your academics, activities, and volunteering?
Yeah, I will say I definitely had a lot going on during high school. I participated in a lot of things, a lot of clubs, a lot of organizations, and I think balancing my time definitely came with trial and error, honestly. But I found that planning my schedule ahead made a huge difference. Having cut out time for schoolwork and personal time helped me a lot. Also, I had to make sure that I wasn't stretching myself too thin because I did want to exceed in everything I participated in. I think I learned to be very intentional with what I chose to do so that I could balance multiple activities. And I think that choosing meaningful activities and spending your time devoted to that helps as well. Juggling a lot definitely takes some time to figure out, but I think once you get a set schedule, it becomes easier to manage that routine.
Yeah, you were really multi-talented in high school, and planning must have helped a lot. Now that you're headed to UCLA, what are you most looking forward to, both academically and personally?
Yeah, academically, I'm really excited for the research opportunities and just being surrounded by students and professors who are just as passionate about biology and health as I am. I think there's a lot of opportunities that UCLA offers, and I'm really excited to just explore them. And personally, I can't wait to just be in LA, explore it, meet new people, and grow outside the classroom. I want to join different student organizations, just going to sports games, and kind of just making the most out of everything UCLA has to offer.
Yeah, LA is a really pretty city too.
Yeah.
Finally, is there anything you like to do for fun in your free time to get your mind off academics and school?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I have a lot of hobbies. I like playing piano, hanging out with friends, and traveling. If I'm at home, I just like to bake and cook, listen to music. And if I'm outside, I just like to hike and explore new places by going on adventures to take my mind off stuff.
Yeah, it's nice that you have so many other hobbies that you can go to when academics becomes a little bit too much. Thank you, Rachel,
Yeah.
for doing this. It was super nice to hear your experiences.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Remember, the journey to college is unique for everyone, and exploring different majors and career paths can open up exciting new possibilities. Keep asking questions, stay curious, and don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to stay tuned for more inspiring stories from different college students and graduates. Until next time, this is Ashreya Siruvol signing off from Scholar Stories.